Welcome everyone to our Geomagic Tuesday Product Spotlight series. My name is Spencer Keene and I'm an applications engineer. Today we will be talking about LiveTransfer inside of Design X and some of the associated tips to help the tool run smoothly. First off, let's talk about what LiveTransfer is. Design X is the bridge between scan to CAD, and the LiveTransfer tool allows the ability to directly export features and modeling histories to one of these following CAD packages you can see to the left. The reason this is important is because instead of having a dummy solid such as a step or an IGES file that you are very limited with when it comes to editing, you will have a fully editable model generated inside of CAD. In most cases, users will not be able to tell the difference between if the model was made natively. We all know design changes happen, and it is important to be able to edit or correct the problems that arise. For example, the bottom right is a sketch profile that was drawn in Design X and is being edited within SolidWorks. Now let's talk a little bit about how LiveTransfer works. What you see here is the Design X history tree, the LiveTransfer tool, and the SolidWorks history tree. Inside the LiveTransfer tool in the top portion, this is where you tell the software what features you want to be transferred. Start from the first feature, we'll transfer the entire model. Resume from selected feature, all the features starting from a selected feature will be exported, or you can choose only selected features. In the options, try to transfer a sweep or a loft as a parametric feature will do what it says. However, if the sweeping or lofting algorithms are different between the applications, then the features will be transferred as dummy objects. Use a custom path will manually define the path of the application's execution file and pauses at the transfer before a selected command is performed. Here are some tips we will go over in today's demonstration to help avoid or fix the error message that we see to the left. One of the main rules that is associated with all the LiveTransfer CAD packages is to model with similar techniques that you would use in the CAD you are transferring into. Another tip is to avoid using multi-profile sketches. And if an error does arise, for example with a surface trim or a boolean, fix the error in the CAD package, then resume the LiveTransfer at the feature after the error was developed. And lastly, save fillets and chamfers till the end. Okay, let's get into the demonstration. Now, as you can see, I have already opened a model that has been completed. If I turn off the solid, you can see the mesh data that helped drive the model. I can turn back on the solid here, and we can look over here at our history tree and all the features that helped develop this model. And to have a little insurance, we can come over to our accuracy analyzer and see how accurate we are to the underlying mesh. But the big thing today is the LiveTransfer functionality. So if I come over here, I can scroll down and we can choose which CAD package we want to go into. Today I'm going to be transferring into SolidWorks. So I'm going to open up the SolidWorks one. And right off the bat, I know I want my entire model to be transferred. So I'm going to have start from first feature lit up. And then these are all the other things we talked about earlier in the PowerPoint. So we can say OK, and you'll see SolidWorks open up in the background and start building all these features. And here is one of those errors that we run into. And what it's saying is that this multi-profile cylinder Boolean cut is failing. And that's one of those tips that I was talking about. So I'm going to say OK. And typically I like to hide my surfaces and planes. So I'll go right click here. And then I'll come up here and hide these planes. right? And so what we're going to do, instead of going back into Design X, we're actually going to do the Boolean within SolidWorks and then do the resume transfer back in Design X. And how we do that is we come up to Insert and we go to Features. And in SolidWorks, they call their Boolean a combined. So we're going to say Subtract, and we're going to pick the main body as that CAD there, and then we're going to come in and pick these cylinders as what we want to extract. We can say Show Preview, and that looks pretty good, so let's say OK. Right, and now you can see that we're at this point in the transfer, and when we come back to Design X, what we're going to do is we're going to say let's roll forward, and you can see that's the move we just made within SolidWorks. But we're just going to open up LiveTransfer again and say resume from selected feature. And we're going to go back from this sketch here and say next and say OK. Go back into SolidWorks. And you can see that our LiveTransfer continues. And now that we have a fully editable model, let's say I wanted to come in and edit this extrusion here. I can find that path, come in and say edit, and let's say I needed a better fillet size on here. I can say smart dimension and maybe give this a more rounded number of 6.9. And so this is the advantage that we have with the LiveTransfer that you don't have with the dummy solid. Just the ability to come in and change and do design edits on the fly like that is a very powerful tool. But yeah, that's one way to do our combined instead of the Boolean. We're going to go in and show you a couple other tools now. Now, as you can see with this next model, we have a lot more contour we're dealing with than the last prismatic model that we were able to do more extrusions and revolves. This is more surface modeling. And with surface modeling, you run into surface trim errors during the LiveTransfer. So we're going to show you a couple techniques because, you know, with these new contour shapes that are out, we can model in Design X very accurately with our surfacing tools. For example, how we modeled this was with splines and our legacy boundary fits, and I can show you how accurate we are to the underlying mesh within tenths of a thou on some places. Right? So it's important that we're able to use these surfacing tools and also to be able to transfer them into SolidWorks or the CAD package of your choice. So I'm going to turn this off again and turn on our LiveTransfer and say start from the first feature. Just like the last time, SolidWorks will open up in the background and start rebuilding. Let me bring it to the correct view. And we have a surface trim error here. And I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to hide the sketch profile just to give us a little better depiction of what's going on here. So hide those as well. And you can see this is where the error happened on this wart during the trim. So I'm going to come in and say Insert Surface Trim. And here Standard or Mutual. We're going to use Mutual so we can pick multiple surfaces. And then down here on our Remove Sections, we'll click on that and also that. That looks good. We'll say OK. Right, now we're going to jump back into Design X and resume the transfer. So what I like to do is I like to say roll forward here, just so I know where I'm starting my next transfer. And I'll open up the LiveTransfer again, say resume from the fillet. I'll say OK and go back into SolidWorks. And during this error, we were populated with an error, but it still ran the functionality. So we're going to come here and turn that surface off. And you might see this if this happens with the surface trims. It was just saying that it didn't run, but from the looks of it, it looks like it did. So we're going to say OK here, and I'm going to say roll forward. And we're going to resume our transfer again from plane 4 here. Say OK. And this is kind of the technique I would run with the surfacing is, do my trims within SolidWorks, and then I come back and I resume the live transfer inside of Design X. So we'll do that again here. We're going to go to our surface trim, and this time we can use standard, and our tool is our extrusion. And let me turn that on here so we have a better idea of what we're looking at. So insert, trim, and here's our tool. And we're going to remove this little area on the top, this little surface, and we need to make sure that we're completely through that surface to be able to use this trim tool. We're going to say OK. And the last portion of this is going to be a thicken. So we can hide that. Actually, let's show this. Hide that, and we'll show our main portion. And we're going to jump back into Design X and finish off the live transfer. So like I've done before, I like to roll forward just to know where I'm going to start. We can say OK. Resume from the thickened surface. And we get an export succeeded. So now that we have a fully editable model, we can actually come in here and if we needed to, we could change the thickness here. So edit feature. And right now, if I turn, let's say we just wanted to bump it down to 1.25. So just like you've seen in the last couple examples, it's really important to be able to have your history and your features follow you into your CAD package because you never know when you need to make design changes, and it's always very important to have that ability too. Okay, this is concluding the end of the demonstration, so let me jump back to the PowerPoint. Just rehatching on our tips we talked about earlier. I think the number one rule of thumb is to model like you're modeling in your CAD package that you want to transfer into, and that's when I find I see the most success. So good luck, and thank you for stopping by.